Hey there, welcome back to The Magic in the Music. I'm Jen. Have you ever wondered what the real cost of a Disney Vacation Club contract is? Well, I'm going to give you 3 important considerations in terms of actual cost, some of the things you might not have thought about, and how to make an apples to apples comparison of different DVC contracts. Coming up next on The Magic in the Music. Okay, so you've heard of this thing called Disney Vacation Club. Maybe you've researched a little bit and you know what kind of accommodations you can get, and you know basically how it works, and there's this point system that you would use to have these deluxe accommodations at Disney. But let's get down to business. I know you're all hearing Mulan in your head right there. I am. But let's really get serious and talk about the actual cost of this Disney Vacation Club membership, because that is something that a lot of people don't really know, or it's maybe the big question. What's it really cost? So let's talk about that today. We're going to break this down into 3 different categories. The first category that we're going to talk about today is the purchase price of the points themselves. So a direct contract, and a direct is something that is purchased directly from Disney or from DVC. It has a set price for points. In the past, you were automatically pushed to these new kind of active resorts, which currently would be Riviera, and technically Aulani has not sold out yet, so they would be still happy to sell you a lot of those points. But I think at this point, because I'm filming this in December of 2020, sales of DVC are probably pretty slow right now. So I think they're very much open to a lot of different options for drumming up a sale. And so they are willing to sell you contracts from different resorts, not just the actively for sale resorts, the ones that they classify as sold out. They actually will sell you those points. So it's actually worth asking and kind of investigating what contracts are available and where they have points available. They can get you almost any of them. So let's give you an example of what a direct price might be for one of these purchases. So Animal Kingdom Villas, we're going to use this one as an example. Its direct price is $176 per point. The total cost, we're going to use an example, a sample contract here. We're going to say for a total cost for 150 points would be $26,400. Now, remember, you have to factor in closing costs, which Disney lists starting just under $600. Back in the day when we bought our first direct Disney contract, our closing costs were much lower than that. In my view, they have gone up a bit in the past few years, but we're just going to use the figure of $600 for this exercise. Next, you're going to include any costs associated with financing that DVC purchase. Now, side note on financing, I am not a big proponent of financing. I don't advocate for it. Everybody's situation is different, so you have to do what works best for you and your family. But, it's a timeshare. It doesn't make sense to finance that. Not to mention, they have very, very high interest rates on their financing, Disney and even companies outside of Disney that will finance it for you. So if you can avoid that at all, you definitely want to avoid it. But again, your situation is unique. You know your situation better than anyone, so you can make that determination for yourself. So if you were going to finance, you would have to factor in all of the interest that would be paid. In order to calculate that, you would go and just Google search for a loan calculator, and you would enter in the interest rate, and then it will give you a figure of the cost of the interest on that. So you would have to tack that onto this. But in our example, we're going to do no financing. So moving on. Our closing cost plus the purchase price of the points would be $27,000 for 150 points at Animal Kingdom Lodge Villas, or Animal Kingdom Villas, whatever they call it. You need to be aware that pricing can vary wildly from one resort to the next. So the least expensive direct priced resort is $110 per point. That would be Vero Beach. And the most expensive is $265 per point for Grand Californian. So you might just say, well, why wouldn't I just buy the cheapest one, done deal? Well, there are some reasons you don't just want to do that, and I will talk about that in a moment. And you also have to make an apples to apples comparison because they don't have the same expiration dates. There are a lot of different factors to consider. The second type of contract that you might consider purchasing is a resale contract. So these are contracts that are purchased through a resale company or a broker, not directly from Disney. These contracts were previously sold to other owners who no longer wanted to keep them, and they, for whatever reason, have made the decision to resell them. Unsurprisingly, this option can save you a lot of money. But in exchange for that, you're really going to give up a lot of convenience. You're going to give up time, and it's going to be a lot more inconvenient for you. And there are potential dead ends. Sometimes you start into a deal with a resale contract, and then the deal falls through and you have to start all over again. There's a huge amount of time difference between these. Okay, a direct contract you might have within a day of, you can call up Disney and say, hey, I want the points. You can have them in your account tomorrow. Typically a resale contract can take 2 to 4 months to complete the sale. And it also, you have to add in the time that you're shopping for the contract. You have to find the right one that has what you want, because you can't just have them create it. You can only buy existing contracts that are already out there. So for our example, for a resale contract at Animal Kingdom Villas, the price that we paid on a resale purchase early in 2020 was $104 per point. Our total cost for 150 points would be $15,600. Yeah, it's a huge, huge difference. Can you believe the difference in price? That's a lot, okay? Add closing costs, and our closing costs in this case were $638. So those are real numbers from a real resale contract. To keep the comparison fair, we won't use any financing at all on these. So we're just going to talk about the price of the points and the closing costs. The next thing we need to consider is the number of remaining years of points on a contract. And this is where it really makes a difference if you're comparing different resorts, because they have different numbers of years left. For example, we talked about earlier about Vero Beach versus Grand Californian. There is a big difference not only in the cost of the points, but there's also a difference in the life of the points, like how many years are left. So this is how we're going to account for that. So you're going to look at the number of remaining years of points. Animal Kingdom Villas expires in 2057. The resale contract that we bought did not include, we're not including the 2020 points. So for comparison's sake, we'll say that the same is for the direct option. So we would take the expiration date of 2057, we would subtract 2020. So that leaves 37 remaining years of points. Now all the contracts started at 50, and then we, use up the points on them. So that's what's left, 37. Then you're going to multiply the remaining years times the number of annual points. So 37 years times 150 points per year. That gives us a total of 5,550 points remaining on the contract. Now you're going to divide each purchase price by the number of actual points remaining. So here, we have a direct cost of $27,000 divided by 5,550, equaling $4.86 per point. Now the resale cost would be $16,238 divided by 5,550 points, equaling $2.93 per point. Once again, pretty big difference. Now, add the current cost of the maintenance fees per point. And yes, this is going to go up gradually over time, but I always calculate it based on the today's current maintenance fees. So currently in 2020, Animal Kingdom Villas has $7.66.85 per point. Then we're going to add that in to our cost per point. So for direct, the real cost of the point is $12.53 per point. For the resale contract, the real cost would be $10.60 per point. Okay, folks, that's the real number, your real cost per point. So this is how you're going to be able to compare these different resorts to each other. So this accounts for the differences in the lengths of contracts, and it gives you a real apples to apples comparison. And it is really valuable to do this calculation when you are shopping for a DVC contract. Another great thing about this is that you can use this to calculate the real cost to you of any room that you book or any reservation that you book. So for example, we booked a room at the Polynesian Resort in July, and it was a Saturday, and we paid 26 points for that. So the actual cost to us, we were using our resale points that we talked about, and so the actual cost to us was about $275 per night for that night. That would be a weekend night. Now the same room would be about $325 if we were using points that were purchased direct. Now you might say, how can I use those Animal Kingdom points at the Polynesian? Yes, you can, as long as the room is available once you reach that 7-month window from your check-in date. And that's not uncommon. We've used our points all over at different resorts. We own at 3 different resorts, and we can use them all over. So you can see there is a significant difference between the resale and the direct points. So you can see why people really love DVC, because any way you slice it, these are really great savings over rack rates that you would pay if you just called and booked a room at the Polynesian. This is a huge, huge savings. Another thing to remember about DVC is that not only are you saving over what we call the rack rates, or Disney's cash rate to stay at the hotel, which for a room at the Polynesian can easily be $400, $500, $600. It's quite a lot. And the other thing you have to factor in is that when you book that room with cash, like a hotel room, you have to pay, it's more than 12%, 11 or 12% hotel tax on that. Disney Vacation Club, you're not paying any extra tax because you own those points already. So you don't have to pay for that extra tax. So that's another little bonus a lot of people forget about. So the second big item on our list of costs for DVC is maintenance fees, and these do go on until the contract ends. So maintenance fees are a fact of life for DVC members. They always go up a little bit each year. I think it's occasionally you've had them go down like a penny or something. I know Riviera, when we first got it, I think it went down a penny or two the first year, but generally speaking, you want to budget for them to go up over time. So currently they range from $6.50 per point up to over $10 per point. It just depends on the resort. So it's really important to factor these in when you are selecting a resort. So if you look at the maintenance fees, it tells you not to just buy the cheapest resort, because you'll find that actually the cheapest resort has some of the highest maintenance fees. So you have to really consider that because it can completely cancel out all the savings that you had with the initial purchase of the points. So you really need to add that into your calculation and take that into careful consideration. So the third and final category that I would say you need to think about in the real cost of DVC is all the other stuff. This is the stuff that most people don't talk about. You know about the cost of the contract. You know about maintenance fees, but most of you don't know about all the other things. So first of these would be annual passes. Now, no, you don't have to buy an annual pass. Nobody is going to force you to do that. But I will tell you, when you're a DVC member, it's much, much easier to buy an annual pass. So we are not Florida residents, but by being DVC members who purchase direct, I just want to be clear about that. When you purchase direct, you get certain perks that go with it. We are eligible to purchase gold passes, which normally you have to be a Florida resident to do that. So we found that once we bought them, we just didn't want to go back. We just kept buying the gold passes. So that's a lot of money for a family of 4 to keep buying and renewing these gold passes. And then of course, once you have the pass, you want to use the pass. And so you're probably more likely to slip in an extra little trip. For us living far away, that means extra airfare, just extra time, all the things that come with traveling, boarding your pet, all the food, all the things that, extra souvenirs you're going to buy on your trips. So it really does start to add up. Now, if you're all in for Disney and you just love it, you probably aren't going to care. In fact, that's kind of how we were. We were like, we're going to Disney more and we're spending more there, but we're having a great time and we see a lot of value in it. If you are worried about those costs, you need to take these things pretty into careful consideration before you make a purchase. Or if you have somebody in your family who's going to go wild with those things, you need to take that into consideration. So that's the second part, is more frequent trips. You're probably likely to make more frequent trips, whether you buy an annual pass or not. So, and by the way, that annual pass, I'm speaking specifically about Disney World. That is an offering available to DVC members at Disney World, because let's face it, the majority of the DVC resorts are at Disney World. Another thing is you get some discounts. And yes, it's great to get additional discounts, but it also means you're going to spend some more money, because just recently, a couple months ago, I had 30% off as a DVC member on shopdisney.com. Well, I couldn't resist that. I mean, who could? So I went and ordered some things that I probably would not have ordered if I didn't have that DVC member status. So that's another thing to think about. If it's going to open up the floodgate for you to start purchasing more things from Disney, just be aware of that. Okay, the final big cost that most people don't realize happens when you become a DVC member is a little something that DVC members call add-on-itis. A little affliction called add-on-itis. And Add-on-itis is when you get a DVC contract and you realize you want more points. You don't have enough points, or you're just hungry for more points. And this, we had this. We definitely had this. We got a first contract was only 75 points. We just kind of dipped our toes into the water with DVC to see how we liked it. And we took our first trip about 4 or 5 months later, and immediately we came home and immediately started shopping for a resale contract to get more points. So just be prepared that if you get into DVC and you love it like we did, and a lot of people do, you may start looking for more points. So if that's something that would be an absolute disaster for you, you might not want to tempt yourself. But if that's something that you can accept and you're sort of okay with that, or perhaps you don't get add-on-itis, but perhaps your spouse or partner or something does. So just be aware that that is like a real possibility happening with DVC. I will tell you there's nothing quite like a global pandemic to cure my add-on-itis. We added on a few contracts, and then once we have been limited in our ability to travel because, of course, what's going on with the pandemic, we can't go as often, and that fixed us right up there. So those are all factors to consider. Okay, folks, I hope that this has been helpful to you in helping you to make the right decision for you and your family. DVC can be a really, really wonderful product, and it can work out really great for a lot of people and a lot of families, but it is not for everybody. So you have to really think about what your needs are and what your comfort level is. And I hope that I've given you a thorough and accurate view of the actual true cost of DVC. It's not cheap. This is not an inexpensive purchase, and you have to understand that going in. You have to plan, you have to really understand these real costs. And if you're comfortable with them, then go for it and have fun. And if you're not, maybe you can think about renting points instead. You can actually rent points, and I'll provide some links below to places that you can do that. So renting points is a wonderful option if you're not comfortable with making the financial commitment, but you still want to enjoy some of the savings of DVC. So there you have it. I hope today has been a helpful video for you. If this has been helpful, we would really appreciate your support by liking this video, commenting below, and hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon so you know every time we have new content. And remember, there's magic in the music. Bye, everybody. Looking for more Disney, music, DVC, or family fun? Click the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you're notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.